What's up, YouTube? Now you see the title of this video and you see the image that I have on the screen here. I'm gonna be real. I was gonna upload a video tomorrow and I had a whole different video planned. But this shit that came across my feed, man. And to be honest, I've been wanting to make a video kinda just I had a small urge to talk about Neferkari Dessalines, but now with this shit that I've come across today in my feed and the goofiness of the video, I have decided, bro, I'm gonna just go ahead, just drop this video. I feel like going over what I'm gonna go over in this video, it needs to be said. It needs to be said. Um, Now you see the title of the video. I came across a video where Neferkari Dessalines was talking about O'Shea Duke Jackson. I guess a video he uploaded recently where O'Shea was complaining about the African migrants in New York City doing, I guess they are on the streets trying to sell stuff, and O'Shea was basically saying, they're ruining New York City, and it just looks bad, basically. Shit looks pretty bad. And, he had his little video and stuff, and Neferkari Dessalines decided to make a response to his video, basically trying to say that O'Shea is pushing propaganda, and O'Shea, I don't know, he tried to imply that O'Shea was getting paid by Turning Point USA and all this stuff. And okay, cool. He can have his little disagreement with O'Shea. That's fine. He got a little disagreement with him. He feels that he's pushing some propaganda. He feels that he's giving off under the table payment vibes. And that's cool. That's cool, bro. That's cool. But here's the issue with Neferkari that I'm gonna really go over in this video, man. The problem that I'm having with Neferkari is that, and really in general, I might have to make even another video too on this Pan-African stuff, because the thing with Neferkari, man, and I've been seeing some of his content here and there. He makes some good content sometimes. I'm looking at it like it's cool, but like my problem with Neferkari, and it's funny because I was watching a video not too long ago of Sergeant Willie Pete kind of going over the same thing that I'm about to talk about, and it's like it's similar to what he was saying. It's like Neferkari does this thing where it's like, to me, it feels like he's trying to do this like, oh, I'm the most Pan-Africanist nigga, and then anyone who does any dissent and has any issues with Africa for any reason, they COINTELPRO, they CIA agents. It's like, nigga, stop, bruh. Cause the vibe Neferkari gives off to me is like a nigga with like a very inflated ego when it comes to this Pan-Africanist shit, because he keeps attacking people for really no reason. I'm gonna keep it a bean. Like when it comes to O'Shea, right? And my problem with him even making a response to that video really is the whole thing is like, okay, so we have these African migrants and we see the video and they're on the streets trying to sell shit. I don't see what's wrong with trying to call that minor thing out. And to make this clear, right? O'Shea Duke Jackson, he is like a Pan-Africanist, I think. Like he has a Pan-Africanist channel. He's all about that stuff. He's in Uganda and whatnot, and that's cool for him, bro. Whatever, bro. But Neferkari is attacking another guy who kinda is in that realm. Now, O'Shea does kind of sometimes, I feel like, pander to the FBA crowd at times and kind of give like a tips his hat to Tariq. So that could be like a little bit of a reason that Neferkari kind of goes at him. But at the same time, if someone's making a reasonable critique and you're just like trying to find a reason to defend any and everything, I'm just like, bro, what is going on here? Because when we got these Africans that are on the streets trying to sell shit, and we know how these niggas be scamming, bro. These Hamitic Africans, we not about to sit up here and act like they don't be scamming, bro. This is well known they're scamming antics, bro. So, and it's clear as day, bro. I've seen this scam time and time again, bro. You got Hamitic Africans in the streets of New York City trying to forcefully sell items to people walking by, trying to sell AirPods and all this dumb shit. And you know these niggas have gotten Temu AirPods for like $10.99, and they're trying to sell some Chinese Temu off-brand AirPods for like $100, bro. Like nobody, like seriously, bro. We see it. We know a scam when we see one, bro. And the scamming shit with these Africans, bro, has to be called out, because they will run around, come to America or any other country and start scamming, bro. And that shit needs to be called out. Ain't nobody got time to be trying to walk through the streets constantly being solicited with shit, bro. Nobody wants to deal with that, bro. They trying to go on about their day, and you got some musty ass African trying to solicit them Temu AirPods, bro. I just got to keep it a bean. Ain't nobody got time for that shit, bro. And when you have O'Shea calling that shit out, as Pan-African as he is, Neferkari takes it upon himself to try to go at O'Shea. And he's been going to O'Shea a lot recently, I've been seeing. I saw when it came to Sergeant Willie Pete's video that he made on Neferkari recently, Neferkari had made a post talking about O'Shea, calling him a pussy boy and all type of stuff. And I'm just like, bruh, like, what are you doing? And this is what I'm saying again, is like, Neferkari just gives off like these hella egotistical vibes, bro. Like he gives off the vibe of like, oh, I'm the most Pan-African nigga in the room. And it's like he's trying to flex this Pan-Africanist shit. That's what it feels like. And even calling O'Shea a pussy boy, it's like, that's, to me, that's just weird. Like it's behavior like that just gives off like a weird like vibe to his personality, bro. It's very corny, bro. I'm gonna keep it a bean. It's very corny. And when it comes to the Pan-Africanist shit, and I might need to make a separate video, like I said, but these Pan-Africanist niggas, man. One of my biggest issues with dudes like Neferkari is like, look, bruh. For those of you that have seen my past videos, you know I am a Israelite, right? And I mean, if you are a Black American, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, you are descendants of the lost tribes of Israel. So when it comes to these Pan-Africanists, this whole African stuff, it's like, we are not African. We are not Hamites. We are Shemitic blacks. We are Israelites from the lost tribes of Israel. So the thing with Neferkari is, when it comes to me, I mean, at the end of the day, right? He's a Pan-Africanist. He's all about the African stuff and all of that, going back to the motherland. And okay, cool. Even though I believe he's Haitian, I think that's his lineage. So I mean, all power to you. But my problem with dudes like Neferkari, these type of Pan-Africanist dudes like this is when it's like they're trying to browbeat people who are not down with their movement, right? For example, with Tariq and the FBA stuff, Neferkari constantly, I see videos, man. I've seen past videos where he's constantly going in on the FBAs and making videos about Tariq. And I'm just like, bro, like, you are claiming to be a Pan-Africanist and you all about to go back to Africa stuff and building up Africa and all this, and that's cool. Tariq is about FBA and about delineating, right? He's on a whole different type of wavelength. And even though Tariq isn't really fully there yet and understanding like he's Israelite or whatever, he's still a lot. There's an awakening happening on a lesser level with a lot of Black Americans who are like understanding that they really are not Africa. They are not African. They are not descendants um, from what we would consider to be African. They're starting to figure out they are of a different lineage, even though they're not fully there yet. They're unpacking some stuff, man. There's a little mini awakening taking place. So you have the FBA movement and the delineation movement and all that, and it's really stirring the pot, man, because you have, like I said, with the Pan Africanists, right? Like with Neferkari, constantly attacking the FBAs, constantly attacking that type of movement. And my problem with that attack is if they are delineating and they're saying, okay, we are separating ourselves and we are delineating and making a clear difference in distinguishing our culture and all that, how can you sit up and have an issue with that as a Pan-Africanist? For two reasons. For one, do Africans not delineate? Do they not have separate ethnicities and cultures within the continent of Africa? Right. Even if you want to look on the delineation on the surface level, they are simply just delineating their culture, making it more distinct, and really responding to a lot of the backlash that they get from Africans when it comes to some of the hate that they spew against Black Americans. You know, the whole "do not date the Akata," and they come over here and it's a secret that a lot of people don't know, but a lot of them will tell their children to stay away from Black Americans, not to date them, all types of stuff. They'll be happy for their daughter or son to bring home somebody white before they bring home a Black American. So there's a lot of hatred against the Black Americans coming from Africans, and that is one of the reasons that Tariq even gives when it comes to the delineation. And little does he know, one of the big reasons they even are like that, with that kind of disdain for African Americans, in a lot of instances, because a lot of them really know we not really the same people. They understand that, and they come over here with the same mentality, no different than an Asian, no different than an Arab, no different than a Hispanic with the white worship. Let's just keep it a bean. So the delineation movement is in a lot of ways a response to the energy that Africans have been giving off to FBAs. So when it comes to that, that's one of the big reasons, bro, that you have that taking place. And then a second thing that's taking place when it comes to that is, like I said, FBA's making a delineation, and like I said, do not Africans delineate. They definitely have their separate cultures and all that they delineate. They make distinctions between themselves and Black Americans when they come here. The second thing that is at play when it comes to a lot of this stuff is like I said earlier, you have a lot of Africans who have a disdain. They have they have an axe to grind when it comes with Black Americans. They come over here. They do these things where they try to sabotage stuff. You'll have certain Africans or even Caribbeans who come over here and they align themselves with white supremacists. They come over here and they undermine reparations movements. They come over here and they get into office and they don't do anything for Black Americans, or they really only do something specifically for Caribbeans or Africans. They come over here and they do not stand with the so-called Black American. So you have this thing where the delineation is being made in a lot of ways, and once again, for a lot of reasons, as it pertains to a response to how Africans will be moving when they get over here, bro. This cannot be denied. This cannot be, we can't just put this set aside and act like this isn't an issue. So when I see Neferkari make a video going at O'Shea for simply just calling out some goofiness that's taking place in New York City when it comes to the African migrants and just in general, New York City just just having a lot of problems, man. It's having a lot of problems in general, and you got a lot of African migrants once again trying to sell dumb, goofy ass Timu AirPods, trying to scam niggas, bro. Ain't nobody got time for no scamming. Like I said, nobody has time for no scamming, bro. And if y'all didn't know, there's a lot of Black Americans who are actually moving out of New York City because New York City has a lot of Caribbeans over there, and then now you got these African migrants and stuff, and it's like it's getting flooded with all of these other groups, the Hamitic Africans and the Caribbeans coming over there, and you can clearly tell a distinct difference, of course, from the Black Americans in these Hamitic Africans coming over, man, and it's just a lot of it just doesn't mesh well because we got two different groups, regardless of all of the fake history that's been pushed. You got two different groups. One group has a disdain for the other group, and it's not a cultural mesh, bro. It does not work out. These Africans, they come over here. Not all of them, but you have a good amount of them come over here and they just move in a way that is just not conducive with how FBAs operate. They come over here musty as hell, and just so many other things, man. That it's just like, bro, this is not gonna blend well with FBAs and how they move, and that's only gonna create more problems in the community. And the Black community already has enough issues over here in America. The last thing we need is Africans coming over who have a disdain for Black Americans, who worship whiteness, and that's musty as fuck. Ain't nobody got time for that, bro. Like, we just gotta keep it a bean. Ain't no one got time for that, bro. And a lot of Black Americans are leaving New York City, bro. So it's going to just be, I feel like very soon, it's going to be full of a lot of African migrants soon, crashing out, scamming and shit. It's going to be bad. I would advise Black Americans to get the fuck out of New York City. I'm keeping it a bean. I would never, I don't even see why anyone would want to live in New York, but that's a whole nother video, bro. This whole Pan-Africanist shit, man. And like I said, I will make a separate video, but I'm going to still address it a little bit here, man. These Pan-Africanists like Neferkari, bro. It's like the whole making videos about Tariq and going at FBAs and talking about them. Once again, there is no reason that any Pan-Africanist should be worried about what FBAs are doing, right? If they want to delineate, they want to make a distinction between them and Africans, what is that going to affect, right? You have people who are trying to say, Neferkari says this shit in some of his videos I've seen where it's like, oh, the CIA this is CIA and stuff, and they're trying to cause diaspora wars. No, the CIA is not worried about you niggas right now, bro. I'm gonna keep it a bean. They are not worried about no diaspora wars, bro. They're not worried about that. This push to call Tariq a CIA agent is just goofiness, bro. He's not no CIA agent trying to cause division and diaspora wars. None of that shit even makes sense because Africans have been having disdain for Black Americans when they come over here. Even before Tariq came on the scene with FBA, Africans have been having this type of do not date the Akata sentiment and all of that anti-Black American stuff they've been on for the longest. It is only now that Black Americans have made a response to the goofiness that they have been on. And now that Black Americans have made a response, now all of a sudden they are the divisive ones. Now all of a sudden there's CIA agents running around being funded and shit. Now all of a sudden you got people trying to push this narrative of diaspora wars and Black Americans is trying to distance themselves from Africa and trying to make claim. You got people trying to make claims of self-hate and all other types of shit that does not apply because once again, we are not Hamites. We are not Hamites. So when it comes to you Pan-Africanists like Neferkari and all you other niggas, y'all don't need to be talking about FBA. why is FBA in y'all wheelhouse? Shouldn't y'all be worried about Pan-African business? What does the movements of FBA have to do with Pan-Africanism at all? If FBA, if Black Americans want to delineate as FBA, that is not going to affect the continent of Africa in any way. What need does the CIA? Why would the CIA need to cause a diaspora war between Black Americans in Africa? There has never been any type of thing where there has been, like I said, a unity between Black Americans, so-called Black Americans, and the continent of Africa, bro. There has been absolutely no type of effort that they would need to break up for that. Africa in and of itself, right? You have certain countries that are starting to regain power of their resources, like Burkina Faso and others like that, and they are it's affecting stuff, and it probably will soon affect some global things. Black Americans delineating is not going to affect the progress of Burkina Faso. I'm gonna just keep it a bean, bro. The Black Americans delineating is not going to affect the progress of countries like Mali, for example. That's another country that's starting to, take control of their resources and stuff. You got African countries that are starting to take control of their resources, and FBAs are nowhere in the vicinity. We don't have nothing to do with that, and FBAs are not going to affect any of that. So the CIA trying to quote unquote create diaspora wars that's not even gonna do anything, because we haven't been unified anyway when it comes to that, and it's not gonna affect anything when it comes to what's going on in Africa. If FBAs are running around wearing dashikis, that's not gonna change the landscape of Africa. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. It's just stupid to say that CIA agents or like Tariq is trying to create division. And no, because like I said, there's already been division. So Tariq with the FBAs, once again, they're just responding to the hate that a lot of Africans have been pushing towards FBAs, right? It's just that simple. And these Pan-Africanists, man, they need to just go and do their thing. They need to go do their Pan-Africanist stuff and really keep FBA's name out their mouth, right? Because the way they want to frame this stuff, man, is anytime you make a complaint or any type of critique of what an African is doing, they want to say that they are just going against Africans and they're COINTELPRO, CIA, and all of this stuff, instead of it just being a genuine critique. It's really just that simple. It's a genuine critique of what someone is doing. It has nothing to do with someone trying to attack Africans. It's really just that simple. O'Shea is far from being on some anti-black shit. O'Shea is in Uganda. He's in the country. He's been there for quite a while. He has a Pan-Africanist channel. He makes Pan-Africanist content. O'Shea Duke Jackson is doing more in terms of trying to engage in Pan-Africanism than a lot of these Pan-Africanists you see online making videos all day. He's doing more when it comes to trying to set things up in Uganda, right, than a lot of these so-called Pan-Africanists online who are just, in America running around wearing dashikis and shit with Africa chains on, talking about black power. Like, O'Shea is actually boots on the ground, 10 toes down in the continent of Africa, doing what he believes is right. Doing what he believes is in the best interest of the people in that region. Right? He's a Pan-Africanist. That's what he follows. Cool. He's actually 10 toes down doing what he need to do. Right? He's not running around making videos going at FBAs. He's actually boots on the ground over there. So it's just goofy, man, with Neferkari and how he constantly has been attacking O'Shea recently for things that I feel like are minor at times, and trying to to go at FBAs, man. Going to FBAs. Like Africa, even if, let's just say for the sake of the argument, right? Let's just say for the sake of the argument that black Americans were of him or whatever. And you still had a delineation movement nonetheless. If you have Africans on the continent that are talking about, oh, FBAs, they're delineating this and this and that, and they need to do this and this and that. Africans need to show that they can actually get their shit together before they run around trying to come at black Americans, bro. I'm gonna keep it a bean. You got Africans coming over here trying to talk about the conditions of the black community here and go in on FBAs and stuff when they literally just left a country with no fucking running water and shit. And motherfuckers starving. And they'll come over here to a first world country, musty as hell, trying to tell black Americans what they need to be doing. See, this is the audacity of these Africans, and this is why they is getting the pushback they getting. See, Neferkari wants to make it seem like this shit is coming out the void. No, bro. Once again, this is coming from years and years of disrespect from Africans, bro. Coming over here, trying to act like they better, trying to grandstand, trying to get a pat on the head from the white man and all this shit. And what's starting to happen now is, a lot of these Africans is getting deported, these illegals and all this. And, I feel like all this time they've been over here doing all this goofiness. Not all of them, of course, because not all these Africans come over here on that shit. A lot of them just come over, some come over and they just chilling, bro. But you have the Africans that move on that do not date the Akata. You have these Africans that come over here with that anti-black American sentiment. And they want to act surprised now that there's pushback. They want to act shocked, and they want to get mad when FBAs call out the conditions of their homelands and say like, "Hey, bro, you coming over here talking to us, but your homeland is in shambles. Fix your shit." So Africans need to fix their motherfucking continent and fix their country before they can say anything about FBAs. And they also need to show that they can actually fix their country reliably and do the things that they claim that, FBAs need to be doing. They need to fix their countries and all that before they can even look at FBAs and talk about any type of coalition or anything. They need to show that they can have reliable shit, bro. Like reliable shit going on. Instead of worrying about what FBAs is doing, instead of worrying about the delineation movement. Because, to be honest, before the delineation movement even happened, they was not calling for no unity and coalition. They was not running around, talking about FBAs and we need to have a coalition and we need to do this and that. It was only until the FBA movement started and the delineation started that you got all these Africans all of a sudden that want to come out of the bushes talking about some why y'all delineating and just trying to just throw anything at the wall to shame black Americans for delineating. Before that, they was calling you a kata. Before that, they was telling their children not to get with you when they came over here. Before that, they was siding with the white man against black Americans and being used as a buffer against black Americans. Because to be honest, that's really what they're being used for by Esau. But that's a whole nother video. That's what they was doing though. But then all of a sudden, now that niggas is waking up on a little mini scale and delineating, now they want to talk about coalition. Now they want to get into that. Like, fuck out of here, bro. These Pan-Africanists need to stop with all this goofiness, bro. They need to stop with the attacking any and everybody who has a problem with what Africans be on. They need to stop with that shit, bro. They really need to stop with that shit, bro. And if FBAs want to make a delineation, then they have every right to do that. They have every right to respond to the disrespect that they've been getting and receiving. And with Neferkari, man, this type of egotistical, I'm on the Pan Africanist movement, and yeah, I'm extra pro black, and you know, it's like this. It's almost like this contest to be like, oh, I'm more black than you, the blackness Olympics and shit. And I'm like, bro, nigga, like, I'm gonna keep it a beam, bro. This shit is corny, bro. It's goofy. It's goofy as hell, bro. The Pan-Africanist Olympics, the Blackness Olympics, like trying to like flex, and trying to go at any and everybody who has any critiques, or anybody who's not just 100% just going with any and everything, and not critiquing shit. And it's just weird, bro. It's really weird. It's really, really weird. And even when you got dudes, I saw a video of Neferkari where it's like, sometimes even when it comes to the critiques that dudes in the manosphere make, when it comes to black women and stuff, Neferkari will come out and try to make it seem like them dudes is just self-hating, they hate black women and all this other stuff. And it's almost as if at times he doesn't really want to critique the behavior of a lot of these black women out here, bro. Even the video he had made on Sergeant Willie Pete a while back, it was like he was trying to frame the manosphere as like a bunch of dudes who were just the way he was trying to frame the manosphere was like there's some fringe group that's just making complaints about black women, and they're just self-hating and shit. And it's just like, bruh, these Pan-Africanists, bro, another thing they do is they will never like make a critique of black women, bro. Or at least they won't really go into some of the real issues in the black community when it comes to some of the reasons that dudes are saying they're having problems with black women and stuff like that, right? Whatever reasons they got, whatever they're talking about, the things dudes talk about in the manosphere and stuff like that. A lot of these Pan-Africans will just completely act like everything they're saying is invalid, and just try to say they're self-hating and all this other shit. And these Pan-Africanists, man, they're notorious for doing that shit, man. They're notorious for being on that the black woman is God shit, and it's just goofy, bro. It just adds another layer to like how disingenuous they are. And Neferkari definitely be on that type of time, bro. He definitely be on that type of time. But I don't want to really go on too much longer in this video. Neferkari Dessalines, bro, he, like I said, he just gives off a sort of ego of like, oh, I'm on the Blackness Olympics, and you make any critique of anything when it comes to Africans, even if it's valid, it's like he just wants to go in on O'Shea because clearly he just got some beef with the nigga for whatever reason. Constantly attacking FBAs. Once again, FBAs don't got nothing to do with what's going on in Africa, and they're not stopping Pan-Africanists, right? FBAs are not stopping Pan-Africanists. The delineation movement does not affect Pan-Africanism whatsoever. Niggas running around delineating is not going to affect Pan-Africanism, right? You got dudes running around claiming that they are. You got dudes that have been claiming they're descendants of a lot of different shit for a very long time in the in the black community. Even some stuff that may not be historically accurate. None of that stuff is gonna affect Pan-Africanism. None of it. None of that stuff is going to affect anything going on in the continent. But for some reason, people like Neferkari wanna talk about FBAs and all this stuff, and once again, if Neferkari is Haitian, that just makes it even more weird. It's like, bro, if you're Haitian, why are you worried about what Black Americans is talking about when it comes to FBAs and all this stuff? I just don't understand that, bro. Like, if he was a Black American, it would make a little bit more sense. But I mean, if he actually is Haitian, I think I recall him saying he was Haitian. It's like, bro, what is your reasoning for really having this big issue with Black Americans with this FBA stuff, man? It's just weird, bro. I mean, shouldn't he be in Haiti trying to push that over there and going in on that stuff? I don't even understand the reason of just constantly attacking FBAs and Tariq and like Tariq's not affecting nothing. He's not going to affect nothing. So, and once again, a lot of the niggas need to really wake up to the history and understand that Black Americans are descendants of Shem, the lost tribes of Israel. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, that's just the truth. We are not Hamites. We are not African. But my whole point of even making this video was just the main thing is like this constant attack on FBAs from these Pan-Africanists like Neferkari. It's like, once again, they're not affecting nothing going on in Africa, bro. They're just not. So their delineation doesn't even matter. It really shouldn't. But yeah, man. That's all I gotta say for this video, man. I'm out.